Before this video begins, I just want to mention that this video is not a complaint. I'm in no way complaining about the game, I'm just talking about how it's changed and what I personally did not like about it. The thing is, we have to accept the game for how it is because it's definitely not changing anytime soon, so again, I'm not complaining, I'm just kind of stating the facts and talking about what's happened. Unturned is a game that has truly defined the way I play PC games. It was the first game I've ever played on PC, and one of the only ones that I consistently come back to whenever I'm bored. If it wasn't for this game, I would probably still be on console, and this entire YouTube channel would not exist. Which, hey, may be a good thing, but I'm just saying, I probably wouldn't have this channel if it wasn't for Unturned. Anyways, that's not the point of this. The point of this video is to talk about how much this game has changed. A lot of it for the better, but some of it not so much. And that's kind of what this rant is about. But I wouldn't quite call it a rant. I want to call it an active discussion. So if you guys have any other opinions or disagree or agree with me or whatever, I want you to tell me in the comments below, because I want people to speak their opinions, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things about YouTube. I love being able to talk with people about what they think and what they don't think. So if anything in this video, interests you, leave a comment below and we can talk about it. Anyways, but to get back on topic, I have over 1,700 hours in this game, and I've been playing it all the way since 2.0, which was over 3.5 years ago, so I think I'm pretty justified to make this video. But the main concept of this video is that things have changed. A lot of it for the better. It's a much more polished game now, it's just, smoother, and it actually feels like a professional grade game, but some other stuff has changed for the worse, and I don't really like it. I remember the first summer when I started playing Unturned 2.0. That was a great game, I loved it. I loved hopping on with friends, surviving, building a base, fighting each other, making allies, making enemies, farming, crafting, fishing. All of that stuff was amazing. I loved the freedom of being able to choose if I want to loot a city or, gather some resources to survive and build a base. It was entirely up to me, I loved that idea. But it seems like that freedom is pretty much gone. Gone are the days of unturned survival and unturned crafting and, actual hardcore a survival game. It doesn't feel like a survival game anymore, and it feels more like a PvP game. But again, Unturned 2.0 was amazing. It felt like such a good game, but it wasn't really a good game. It was pretty bad actually. Super unpolished, super buggy, lots of issues, and it kind of felt like something you could find for free online, like on itch.io, some independent game website. It just didn't feel like a professionally made Steam game. But it was fine, because it was fun, and I loved the challenge of surviving. Moving on to 3.0, the game was polished up and fixed, and it's just a lot more of an enjoyable game now, and it's a lot more fun, but it's not the same, like I said earlier. You don't survive anymore. All there is PvP. Pretty much every server is either a kit, warp, TPA, or /home server, 50 times loot or 50 times experience, and the game isn't hard. There's hardly any servers that are, regular vanilla survival and gone with the PvP and all that garbage. It's all kits and warps and spawning crap in and PvPing. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just how the community wanted to change. This video isn't to say that there's something wrong with this change. The video is just to say that there is a change, and I'm trying to see if other people notice this as well. I very rarely see vanilla servers surviving long. Most of the time, they'll have 14 or 15 players at their peak, and then they crash and nobody plays on them anymore. Because everybody would rather have a PvP kit server, like I said. I was thinking about it, and honestly, I feel like the change in this is due to the change in the community. Whenever this game launched to 3.0, it went mainstream. Everybody was playing it, everybody enjoyed it. I think even PewDiePie made a video on it at some point. But it was, the front page of the Steam store 24/7. Everybody who saw it sees free-to-play survival game, and they instantly hop on the game. And again, there's nothing wrong with this either. I'm just explaining the reasoning behind it. Basically, as all these younger and new people get on the game and start playing this free-to-play survival game, it kind of drove off the old-school players. A lot of the people I was friends with in 2.0 don't play this game anymore. I mean, heck, even people who started in early 3.0 don't really play it as much. Because the community is just totally different now. A whole different group of people. A lot of them are younger. No offense if you're younger, I'm just saying. A lot of them are younger and don't know how to be mature and play the game. So instead of trying hard to play the game, they would rather go on a server where they can easily get their items and enjoy it. And that's kind of what shifted away from the survival aspect. A lot of it was the community, but I'm not saying that's the only thing. It also has to do with the game itself. It's not the same game anymore, so obviously you're not going to expect the same thing. It seems like Nelson is leaning more and more towards a PvP-oriented game than a survival-oriented game, and that's why he's making 4.0, and hopefully that'll fix this problem. It seems like a lot of new items are being added, but no new mechanics. The only new mechanics I could really think of that have been added are simple things like bullet drop, which was a great addition by the way, but again, focused on PvP. There was rain, which didn't really do anything. The flying mechanic, which has to do with pretty much PvP because every helicopter is in a PvP battle anymore. Underwater gunplay, which means you can now shoot weapons underwater, which is again for PvP, because there's no reason you need to shoot a gun underwater unless you're PvPing. The whole raiding overhaul with like the charges and the grenades and all that, that was another PvP addition. And honestly, I can't really think of all of them, but if you know any more, please tell me in the comments. But the fact is, every addition is focused on action and PvP. The only new survival aspects I can even think of were the additions of farming plots, which isn't really a new mechanism, it just gave you more room to farm. Like farming feels useless, honestly, not gonna lie. But, you know, farming, nothing really changed. There was like a few crafting updates for makeshift weapons, but again, makeshift weapons go towards PvP. There was like the compass update, which, you know, gave you positioning for if you're trying to explore a map, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for exploration, but it doesn't really change anything. There was the rain update, which added rain and drinkable rainwater that's not used enough because nobody cares about rainwater when you can just find a bottle of water in the city. There was also the whole zombie overhaul, which I felt like was one of the best updates that the game has ever had. You know, the new fire zombies and the sprinters and the electric bosses and all that garbage. That was a good update. Honestly, probably one of the most important updates in the game, because the game is played entirely different now. But other than these few things, I really can't think of much for the actual survival aspect. There's honestly no priority on base building or the actual survival aspect. You know, you can run into a city and find everything you need, which again is a main component of the game, so I'm not complaining, but there's no focus on survival. You run around looting and kill each other. If you die, you find more stuff instantly. It's not like you're out there trying to struggle to craft what you need, like in Rust, where you have to find components and then craft what you need by gathering materials. You can literally find everything inside a town. There's no point in building a base because you can just, you know, keep the stuff you have on you, and if you die you can find more. There's hardly any needs except food and water and infection, which you can heal by finding things, and there's no point in crafting these things when you can find all of them. Fishing is pretty much useless because what's the point of doing that when you can find food? Basically every aspect that defines a survival game is not needed. Like there's no point in any of it, and I feel like there should be a little bit more requirement to use these things in order to make it far. Like for example, a good comparison is Rust, one of the most popular survival games around. You know, they combine it perfectly. You have to PvP to get some of your items, but you would be perfectly fine staying on your own, harvesting materials, and using those to use what you need. In Unturned, it's not like that, and I realize it's a whole different game, but I think some of the concepts of these other survival games should be used to help fix the survival aspect. The only things you can really do are mine metal, chop trees, fish, and farm. And all of those things are pointless unless you're building a base. I'm hoping that in the future, maybe in 4.0 or something, Nelson can actually fix this and make survival more of an important aspect of the game. Again, this video may just sound like a giant complaint. I'm not trying to make it like that, but I just want to talk about how I feel the game has changed. It just doesn't feel like a normal survival game anymore. But I do realize that this is all stuff that's in 3.0, and that's kind of the whole reason why Nelson's making 4.0. But honestly, from what I've seen with 4.0, he changed everything once again. The graphics are entirely different, the gunplay is different, and I don't know. I wish the same game that we're playing right now, the same engine, the same graphics, everything that you see with this game could be fixed as it is. I'm excited for Unturned 4.0, but I'm really not at the same time, because I like the game I have now. There's no telling what this new update will do to the community or to the game or anything like that, so we really don't know, and I guess we'll just have to wait and find out what happens. But if you guys have any feedback about this video, feel free to leave it in the comments below, because I really want to hear what you guys are talking about. But that's about it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time, and peace.